Welcome to Story Sale English. I hope you are having a peaceful day. Today I want to tell you the story of a man who was born on the great grasslands of Asia. He was the grandson of Genghis Khan. He came from the most powerful family in the world, but that was not the most important thing about him. The most important thing was this: he was not only a conqueror, he was a builder. He was not only a man who could win battles. He was a man who wanted to rule a huge empire, organize it, and give it order. His name was Kublai Khan. If you enjoy learning English through stories like this, please subscribe to Story Sale English. Your support helps us bring you more beautiful stories for your English journey. Kublai Khan was born in 1215. He was born into the Mongol royal family, a family feared across much of the world. His grandfather was Genghis Khan, the great conqueror. His father was Talyui. His mother was Sorgatani, a wise and respected woman. Kublai grew up in a world of horses, war, open skies, and power. But even when he was young, he seemed different from many others around him. He was brave, yes. He was strong, yes. But he was also curious. He wanted to understand more than war. As he grew older, he became interested in the lands south of the grasslands, the lands of cities, farms, books, scholars, and ancient traditions. He paid attention to Chinese ways of government. He gathered learned men around him. He listened. He studied. He asked questions. This was unusual. Many men wanted to conquer a land. Kublai wanted to know how to govern one. That difference would change his life. It was the middle of the 13th century. The Mongol Empire was already huge. Kublai's older brother, Murk, became Great Khan. After that, Kublai was given important responsibilities in the lands of northern China. This was a turning point. Now Kublai was not just a prince from a great family. Now he had real work, real power, real tests. He began to gather Chinese scholars, advisors, and officials. He built his own team. He learned from them. He started to believe that if the Mongols wanted to rule China, they could not rule it by fear alone. They needed law, they needed administration, they needed ideas, they needed talent. Kublai was learning one of the greatest lessons in history. Winning is one thing, governing is another. Soon he also had to prove himself in war. He was sent to campaign in the southwest. He took part in the conquest of Dali in what is now Yuan. This was important because it gave the Mongols a stronger position for future campaigns against the southern Song. So now Kublai had two kinds of strength. He could lead armies, and he could build a government. That combination made him dangerous, powerful, and hard to ignore. Then everything changed. In 1259, his brother Murk died during a military campaign. Suddenly, the empire had no clear next ruler. This was a moment of crisis. Kublai was still in the south with his army. He had a choice to make. Should he continue the campaign? Or should he return north and fight for the throne? At first, he did not want to leave the battlefield. He had come so far, he wanted victory. But the danger at home was growing. His younger brother, Ariq Böke, was moving quickly. If Kublai stayed away too long, he might lose everything. So Kublai made the hardest choice. He turned back. This was not a small decision. It meant leaving one struggle for a much larger one. Soon the brothers were enemies. Kublai and Ariq Böke both claimed leadership. A civil war followed. It lasted for years. This was not just a family argument. This was a battle for the future of the Mongol world. Kublai had one great advantage. He controlled richer lands. He had access to the resources of northern China. He had food, supplies, advisors, and a stronger system behind him. In the end, he defeated Ariq Böke and secured his position. He had won, but the victory had a price. Kublai became stronger, yet the old unity of the Mongol Empire was never fully the same again. The empire that had once moved like one storm across continents began to split into different centers of power. This is one of the most powerful parts of his story. Sometimes a man wins the throne, but loses the old world that made the throne possible. Still, Kublai did not stop. He moved forward. He did something very important. He began to rule more and more like a Chinese emperor, not only like a steppe Khan. He adopted Chinese political forms. He used the title of emperor. He organized central institutions. He strengthened government offices. He tried to bring order to a vast and complicated realm. Then in 1271, he gave his state a new name. He called it Yuan. This was the birth of the Yuan dynasty. This was another great turning point. Kublai was no longer only the grandson of Genghis Khan. He was now the founder of a new dynasty in China, and he was not finished. To truly rule China, he still had to defeat the Southern Song. This would not happen in one day. It would not happen in one easy battle. It would take patience. It would take planning. It would take years. One of the most important moments was the long siege of Xiangyang. This struggle lasted for years. It was slow, exhausting, and expensive. But when Xiangyang finally fell, the road south began to open. After that, the Yuan armies moved deeper and deeper into Song territory. In 1276, Kublai's forces captured the Song capital, Linen, now Hangzhou. But the story was not over yet. The southern Song did not die immediately. Loyalists fled south. Resistance continued. The last Song forces fought on. Finally, in 1279, after the Battle of Yamen, the last major resistance ended. Kublai had done what many thought was almost impossible. He had unified all of China under his rule. Imagine that moment. A boy from the grasslands, born under the open sky, had become ruler of the greatest empire in East Asia. But Kublai's greatness was not only military. He did not just conquer cities. He tried to reorganize a civilization. He built up his capital at Dadu, the city we know today as Beijing. He made it a center of imperial power. He created a court that combined steppe tradition with Chinese statecraft. He supported large administrative systems. He paid attention to transport, supply, and order. And one of his most important achievements was transport. China's political center was in the north, but much of its wealth and grain were in the south. This was a problem. A great empire cannot survive if food cannot move. So under Kublai, major canal work was expanded and improved. These waterways helped connect north and south more directly. Grain and goods could move more efficiently toward the capital. This may sound less exciting than a battle, but in truth, this is what made his empire real. A battle wins land, a system feeds a capital. A road or a canal can matter more than a sword. This is one of the deepest lessons in Kublai Khan's life. The world remembers conquerors, but history is truly changed by organizers. At the height of his power, Kublai seemed unstoppable. He ruled a huge territory, he had defeated rivals, he had founded a dynasty, He had unified China. He had built a capital and strengthened government. But success can be dangerous, very dangerous. Kublai wanted even more. He sent expeditions abroad. He tried to project power beyond China. Some campaigns failed badly, especially the invasions of Japan. Storms, distance, cost, and difficulty brought disaster. These failures were expensive. They drained resources, they hurt the people, they weakened the state. This is another great lesson in his story. A person is often most at risk not when they are weak, but when they believe they cannot fail. And then came personal sorrow. Kublai lost people he deeply loved. His wife Chabai died. Later, his son and heir Zhenjin also died. These losses hurt him deeply. He was no longer the rising prince. He was now an old emperor carrying grief. His health grew worse. He suffered from illness. He became heavier. He drank too much. The man who had once pushed history forward with powerful energy now began to slow down. This part of the story matters because it reminds us that even the strongest rulers are still human. They can command armies. They can build capitals. They can reshape empires, but they cannot defeat time. In 1294, Kublai Khan died. He was about 80 years old. He left behind a huge legacy. He had founded the Yuan dynasty. He had brought all of China under one rule. He had helped move the center of power to Dadu. He had shown that empire was not only about conquest, but about administration, transport, law, and political imagination. But he also left behind warnings. He showed how victory can come with hidden costs. He showed how expansion can become overreach. He showed how even the greatest builders can create problems for the future. So why do we still remember Kublai Khan today? We remember him because he stood between two worlds. He came from the grasslands, but he understood cities. He came from a conquering family, but he knew conquest was not enough. He knew that if you want to hold something great, you must build something greater than force. And that is why his story still matters. Kublai Khan teaches us that real success is not only about taking opportunities, it is about preparing for them. It is about learning from people different from you. It is about building systems, not only chasing victories. It is about knowing when to fight and knowing what must come after the fight is won. Today, when we learn English, we are also building something. We are building our future. We are building confidence. We are building a bridge between worlds. Just like Kublai Khan understood that power grows when you learn from another culture, we also grow when we learn another language. Every new word is a small step. Every story is a new window. Every day of learning makes us stronger. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I hope it helped you with your English learning. If you liked this video, please subscribe to Story Sale English, and leave a comment below if you want to hear whose story next. Until next time, keep learning, keep listening, and keep moving forward.